yesterday's demo session, we just understood, just gone through what is Python. Simply scripting language or programming language, understood about scripting languages and programming languages. Python is not a scripting language. It is a general purpose programming language that also works as a scripting language. What is scripting language? What is programming language? Differences we understood. And we gone through programming languages. What are the programming languages like high level language, low level language, machine level code? So what interpreter does? Interpreter line by line, reading the line, compile the line, translate the line into machine code, and execute the line. So reading the line, checking for syntax, translate, execute, output, then second line, then third line. Compiler creates an executable file, intermediate file. There are two steps while working with compiler. First step is compilation. Second step is execution. These things we understood. But Python is very high level programming language. What is very high level programming language? We understood, which is not only hiding machine level complexities, it's also hiding logic development complexities. That's why Python is a goal-oriented programming language. It reduces the complexity, reduce number of lines of code. This all. And also we understood yesterday what is single purpose, particular purpose programming languages, general purpose programming languages, what exactly general purpose programming language. These things we understood. So this is the further material I'm going to give you for introduction. What is Python, scripting languages, levels of programming languages, high level, low level, very high level. Okay. And a general purpose, what is general purpose programming language? So what are the various application areas? Where do we use Python? What purpose we are using Python? This also we covered. And one more thing, Python is not only just multi-purpose, general purpose. Python is multi-paradigm. Multi-paradigm. What do you mean paradigm? Today, let us continue with this. What do you mean paradigm, multi-paradigm? So Python is multi-purpose and multi-paradigm. What do you mean paradigm? It is a style of writing the code, approach of writing the code, programming style. Multi-purpose already you know, and multi-paradigm, it is approach, it is a style of writing the code, programming paradigm. What are the various programming paradigms? One is, you know, procedure oriented, procedural programming. Procedure oriented. Programming paradigm, procedure oriented programming paradigm. This is also known as a procedural programming paradigm. This is also known as procedural programming paradigm. The languages supports this procedural programming paradigm known as procedural programming languages. The language which supports this procedural programming paradigm known as procedural programming languages. So what are the procedural programming languages? The popular powerful procedural programming language is C language, right? Please remember, C language is purely works based on procedural programming paradigm. And almost all scripting languages supports this work with this procedural programming paradigm only. A simple way of writing the code, very simple way of writing the code. In the procedural programming, we do work with the variables and various commands, program logics and techniques. This is all, of course, depends on the language, its features and functions. Functions for reusability of the code. That much only. Very simple style of writing the programming, that is procedural programming. C language is procedural programming language. Okay. Then second one is object-oriented programming language. So second programming paradigm is object-oriented programming. Paradigm. Here, first of all, the very fundamental concept of this object-oriented programming paradigm is you have to realize real-world objects, right? Everything you have to realize as an object. Generally, requirements, from the requirements, we will identify the business requirements, then convert it into functional requirements, then design, then we start writing the code. This is what the step-by-step development flow. But in the designing itself, in the analysis itself, object orientation is required. From the requirements, from the real world operations, you have to identify the real world objects and its operations, real world objects and its operations, right? You are simulating that in your program, in your code, you are creating code objects. Code objects are simulation to the real world object, right? The code object contains the attributes and activities, actions, right? So here, totally we are dealing with objects, its attributes, its behaviors, multiple objects we are making, and we are creating instances of the objects and working with that. While working with object-oriented programming, definitely we have to follow object-oriented programming principles like encapsulation, polymorphism, inheritance. Generally, our people gives you big list, but originally, mainly only three principles: encapsulation, polymorphism, inheritance. Data binding, data hiding, that is the abstraction. These things comes under encapsulation. Of course, data binding and abstraction main comes under encapsulation. Data hiding is part of the abstraction. Okay, that is encapsulation. Then polymorphism, many forms, overloading, overriding, these principles comes under polymorphism. Inheritance, various types of inheritance, implementation, various types of inheritance, single inheritance, multiple inheritance, multi-level inheritance, and these all things. So when you are working with object-oriented programming paradigm, definitely you have to follow the object-oriented programming principles. The style of writing the code, the approach of writing the code is entirely different. The languages which supports this object-oriented programming is known as object-oriented programming languages. You know, a couple of popularly known object-oriented programming languages. What are the popularly known object-oriented programming languages? C++. Please identify C++ is It supports procedural programming paradigm, and also it supports object-oriented programming paradigm. Both are possible with C++. C++ compiler can work like a C compiler because it is none other than C compiler only. Then Java, the language which supports object-oriented programming only. C#, the language which supports object-oriented programming only, right? But please, one more point I want to mention here. Python is pure 100% object-oriented programming language. Please remember this point, very important. Python is pure 100% object-oriented programming language. In Python, everything is an object. In Python, everything is an object. Built-ins, internals, everything. Python does not support primitives. Python does not support primitives. In Python, we don't have primitive data types. In Python, everything is an object, integer object, string object, float object, like that. A string data type, integer data type, float data type. It's not supporting data types. It's not supporting primitives. Python supports objects. Everything is an object in Python. Python is pure 100% object-oriented programming language. So here you people might get a question, what's about Java? Is it not 100%? What's about C#? Is it not 100%? Of course, no. Java and C# supports style of writing the code is only object-oriented programming, but Java supports data types, primitives. Okay, function is function, method is method, class is class in Java and C#. In Python, function is also an object. Class is also an object. Got it? That way. So this style of writing the code is different. Of course, Python supports procedure-oriented programming and object-oriented programming both. You can use Python as a procedural programming language for procedural developments. You can use Python as an object-oriented programming language for object-oriented developments. Third one is
one question there, Srini. So,
yes.
But we do have string or integer as a data type in Python, right? So
no. I will show you practically. See, okay. Now itself I will show you. I'm opening Python, direct Python console I do open. So already installed Python 3.10. I'm opening IDE. I will show you real power of Python comparatively other languages. Today itself, I will show you. So okay. A is equal to 25, right? What is A? 25. What is the data type of variable A? Look at this.
Yes.
Is it class or not?
Okay. In that way, it's okay.
But here, of course, you are true. Integer is the data type. But the difference is Python 2 series and Python 3 series. Okay. Python 2 series and Python 3 series. At present, I'm totally talking about Python 3 series. In Python 2 series, as you said, primitive data types are supported. Integer, string, float, these all are fundamental data types in Python. Those are primitive data types in Python. Okay, but in Python 3, primitives are not supported. Everything is an object in Python 3. This is the practical proof. Got it? Remaining also practical, I will show you timely. But here, one more thing I'll show you Python, that in the features of Python, I will show you that. Are you clear now?
Yes, yeah, thanks.
And another programming paradigm is functional programming paradigm. Do you people listen about any functional programming language? What are the functional programming languages? Do you know?
JavaScript.
No, yeah. JavaScript is scripting language. It is not functional programming language.
Like C programming?
No. R language. R language.
Okay, so statistical analysis is done by the.
So data science people uses R language, you know,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
R language is popularly known as data science language. That is functional programming language. You know, Scala, Spark and Scala as part of big data. The Spark and Scala combination, right?
Yeah.
Of course, earlier days, Spark implementations was done in Scala language. Nowadays, they are working with Python using the library called PySpark. Big data implementation with Python can be done with the PySpark because Spark technology is popularly used. Spark SQL, Spark streaming, and this all. So Spark language, that is the Scala language, is functional programming language. R language is functional programming language. Python is also functional programming. Got it? So R language and Scala language. What is this? What do you mean functional programming? In case of functional programming, whenever you listen the term functional programming, first point you have to remember, everything is an object. Function is also an object. First point you have to remember. That's what Python 3 is implemented internally, totally redeveloped for the best compatibility, best suitability for the functional programming. Okay, so in Python also everything is an object. Mainly, functional programming languages supports two different varieties of objects. In functional programming language, everything is an object, 1 point. Objects can be two types. It supports two types of objects. One is mutable, second one is immutable. Mutable objects, immutable objects. What is mutable? Object allow changes. You can do the changes of content of the object. Object allow changing its content. That is mutable. What is immutable? Object does not allow changing its content. This is immutable. When I say this, you people might compare this with static variable, and static variable. No, that concept is different. This concept is different. Please do not compare. You people might know earlier C, C++ something, Java something, but don't compare with that. The mutable object, immutable object. This is different. Static and variable, that concept is different. The object which allow changing its content is mutable. The object which does not allow changing its content is immutable. In functional programming languages, mostly its internal memory model, memory management mechanism of the language is immutability based memory mechanism. I will exclusively cover Python memory model, this immutability based memory mechanism. I will exclusively concentrate on that. Don't worry. So Python is functional programming language. Here, everything is an object. As I told you, function is also an object. You people know about little bit, having idea. Please follow this. I have a function. This is function 1. Function 1 has parameters or not? It takes parameters or not? You people know about it, right? And you know, function returns something, right? This is return. So parameter can be any Python object. Function returns any Python object. So I have another function that is function 2. That is function 2. This function 2 is Python object. This function 1 is Python object. So function 2 I can pass as a parameter to the function 1 or not. Do you understand my concept? A function can be passed as a parameter to the another function. A function returns an another function. This kind of magical code is possible in functional programming. Of course, I will cover this style of programming also. Don't worry. I will show you Python as a procedural programming language. I will show you Python as a functional programming language, object-oriented programming language. All the features we will cover. Just for your understanding, I'm showing this one. I'm just addressing this feature. So Python you can use as a functional programming language for the functional developments. So Python you are using for data science. At that time, Python should compatible for that, right? So since it is a functional programming language, it is compatible for data science. Since it is a functional programming language, it's compatible for big data, Spark, this all. Okay, functional programming. Another one is modular programming paradigm. Modular programming paradigm. The languages supports modular programming paradigm. Those languages are known as modular programming languages, right? What is the popularly known modular programming language? Modular 3. Modular 3 is the module. That's only the modular programming language. Nowadays, almost all programming languages supports modularity. Okay. Modular 3. Almost all programming languages supports modularity. What is this style? What do you mean modularity? What does it mean? Instead of writing a program, very big, large program, split the program into multiple pieces. Suppose instead of writing a program with 5,000 lines, divide that into small programs, multiple programs. These programs can be shared, can be reused in each other. So readability, maintainability can be increased, right? It will be good. That is what modularity. So Java having modules and packages concept, C++ having header files concept, C# support modules and packages, Python supports modules and packages, modularity, right? These are the 4 different programming paradigm. Python also work as modular programming language. Python work as functional programming language. Python work as object-oriented programming language. Python work as procedural programming language. And coding in Python is very easy, very liberal, like a scripting language. So the feature taken from the scripting languages is scripting languages are liberal. Whether you declare variable, not declare variable, don't mind. Okay, very liberal in coding, easy in coding. Okay, so Python coding style is very easy, very liberal, very less code intensive, like a scripting language. And this can be used as a procedural programming language, or object-oriented programming language, functional programming language, modular programming language. These all programming paradigms are supported by Python. Python is multi-purpose and multi-paradigm. And here Python is interpreter-based. I told you, Python is interpreter-based, I told you. Why Python is interpreter? Anybody get this question? Sir, in the graduation, in the BTech also, we came to know that we studied that compiler is better than interpreter. Compiler is faster than interpreter. That's what we studied. You are saying Python is interpreter-based programming language. So the Python Software Foundation intentionally don't want to make it as a compiler. Why it is like that? This could be a question, right? Simple. Java, anybody know Java compilation process? Anybody know Java compilation process, guys? We have hardware. Obviously, hardware and operating system combination is my system. This system is responsible for execution, processing. This is my system. And I do write a program. This is my Java program. Of course, Java and .NET, both architecture is the same. So Java program. This is program 1.java. So Java compiler is responsible for compiling this. Here it uses compiler. Java compiler is responsible for compiling this program. So what the Java compiler does, first read all the lines of the code, verify syntax errors. All the lines are syntactically correct and nice. Then it compiles. Java compiler compile the Java program. That means translate all the code into what? Bytecode, intermediate code called bytecode. Oh, what is this bytecode? Bytecode is ununderstandable high-level code only, understandable source code. Another variety of source code, not understandable to human being. Bytecode is not understandable to the human being. And as well, this bytecode is not understandable to the system. This is what class file, you know, right? This is what dot class file. The class file contains bytecode. Java source code is compiled, converted into bytecode. The intermediate code file is created. Intermediate file is created and saved. That is bytecode. What is bytecode? Is the bytecode understandable to hardware, your system? No. Is it readable? Is it understandable to the human being? No. Got it? That's the reason we required Java virtual machine. JVM should be installed in your computer. Okay, without JVM, you can't execute Java programs. JVM is compulsory. JVM is compulsory. Java virtual machine. JVM contains what? JVM contains what? JVM contains JRE, Java Runtime Environment. JVM contains JRE, Java Runtime Environment. Okay. Any Java specific objects can be translated with the help of JRE. This JRE contains an interpreter, that is, of course, JIT compiler. We call it as JIT compiler. JIT compiler is nothing but an interpreter. JIT compiler is nothing but an interpreter. This interpreter doesn't verify for the syntax errors because the bytecode is already compiled code. There is a guarantee there will be no errors, syntactical errors. That's why should I check for the syntactical errors again? So we have a JIT compiler. So first step is compile the program. Compilation is done. Class file is ready. Second step is run the program. Whenever I say run the program, run the file, this class file is submitted to whom? The class file is submitted to whom? JVM, JRE, JIT compiler. Here it is an interpreter. It reads the first line, translate into machine understandable code, execute and gives you output. Next, translate, execute output. Next, translate, execute output. Next, translate, execute output. Here it works like an interpreter. It works like an interpreter. This is an interpreter. See, the interpreter execution process and the class file execution process, both are same or not, if you consider this much. You people understand, guys, what I mean to say? So this is your program. Interpreter is translating and executing, giving output. Of course, class file, the byte code, translating and executing and giving you output. The step is execution, but internally one interpreter is working. Why? What this all? Why this architecture? We have to make the architecture complicated. Why Java people dependent on JVM and JRE? Why the architecture made like this? For the sake of platform independency, right? So once the Java program is compiled, a class file is generated wherever JVM is available, irrespective of operating system, irrespective of hardware architecture, the program can run anywhere. That is platform independency. They want to hide the source code. Please identify the point. They want to hide the source code. They don't want to deliver the source code. They want to hide the source code. They don't want to be open source. They want to hide the source code. As well, they want platform independency, both. So that architecture is this complicated. Now, what the Python does? Python is not doing this all. Python is not doing this all. Hardware. So you have your program. That is Python program. Suppose let us assume that this is my Python program. This is not Java program. This is my Python program. Python itself is open source or not? Python itself is open source or not? So I don't want to hide the source code. I don't want to hide the source code. So Python interpreter just directly executing the Python source code hardware gives you output. Only the thing we compromised, hiding the source code. That's it. We don't want to hide the source code. We open. We are delivering source code to the client. Got it? So the source code can run anywhere, any operating system, wherever Python interpreter is available. So Python interpreter can run the Python source code. So platform independent or not, without making the architecture complex, without going for complex architecture, just compromising, hiding the source code. We are open the source code. So we achieve platform independency. This is an advantage or not? This is the reason Python is not a compiler. Python is interpreter. Do you think by keeping source code is open, by delivering the source code to the client, any problem, any danger? Anybody think? Anybody think, guys? If I deliver the source code, if I keep source code is open, is there any problem? Security, etc., etc. Anybody is having any doubts about these things? Of course, guys, whenever standalone applications, desktop applications, whenever the two-tier client server architecture, okay. So at that time, of course, whatever you said, it is right on the internet application also. Nowadays, you see cloud-based applications, and even though it is web applications, web application is just for the presentation layer. Behind the screen, the business logics and business components are executed, resides in the server, run in the server computer. No one can access it. Only your front-end application can access it. So even though source code is open, not a problem, because server is highly secured and protected with the security socket layers, firewalls, etc., etc., all the security mechanisms. So nowadays it is not a problem. Okay, that is the reason Python is still interpreter. I believe all of you clear. If any questions, please ask me. So this is programming paradigm. Python is interpreter-based programming language, and Python supports two different modes of working. Python supports interactive mode and as well script mode. Interactive mode is nothing but console, Python console, command prompt, Python prompt. Right from the birth of the Python in the 1991, since 1991, Python comes with two facilities, interactive mode of working and as well script mode. Script mode is nothing but write the program, save the program, run the program, write a program and execute the program. That is script mode, programming mode. Interactive mode in the sense console, just like a command prompt. Java is inspired by Python. So Java is provided Java console in the Java 9 series onwards. Java 9 version release onwards. Before Java 9, we don't have Java console. Since Java 9 version, Java console is provided. Java is inspired by Python console. Okay, so interactive mode and script mode, both the modes. Nowadays, Java also providing that. And Python is 100% pure object-oriented programming language that already I told you. It is a very high-level programming language. Already we discussed yesterday, and it is used for wide varieties of applications, supports multiple varieties of applications, multiple domains, multiple technologies. That's the reason Python is widely used. Python stands as a number one, the top number one programming language since couple of years. This is what about Python programming paradigms. Once quickly, let us go through features of Python. Python is very high level programming language. Already you understood. Python is the interpreter-based programming language. Already we understood. Python is multi-purpose programming language, multi-paradigm programming language. Already we understood. Extensible. Python is extensible to Java. Python is extensible to C language. Python is extensible to .NET. Okay, something like that. What does it mean? What is extensibility? What do you mean Python is extensible? If you understand, let us see. Already I told you about the Python interpreter, compiler. This comparison I told you. Now, already I have a Java project, Java developed project. There are 2000 programs. My project was already developed in Java, at present in production live. Of course, working fine since so many years. I'm using this application, Java application. Now, there are some changes required. Of course, change requests keep on comes. There are some changes required. In this project, I have 2000 programs. 2000 programs. Out of 2000 programs, maybe 300 programs needed changes. Changes in the sense migration, enhancement. 300 programs needed changes. So what I do, these 300 programs, I do develop as Python programs. 300 programs migrated. So developed in Python. But remaining programs are still Java programs only. Remaining programs are still Java programs only. This both must fit together, right? Understand? Suppose Java application you want to migrate into .NET. .NET application you want to migrate into Java. Otherwise, C++ application you want to migrate into C# or Java. You see, all the programs totally you have to redevelop, rewrite all the programs. Total application should be migrated as a .NET application or something like that. But here, whatever changes are needed, only these 300 programs I will. Now, what application purpose? Java purpose. I will use Jython, JPython. That is nothing but Jython. Okay, Jython, JPython, Java Python. These all are same. This is another distribution, another flavor of the Python for the compatibility of Java. This works as an interpreter. Sorry, compiler. This works as a compiler. See, my program is Python program. I translate my Python program using Jython. It generates the bytecode class file, Java compatible bytecode. So Java application contains 2000 programs. Those all are bytecode only, class files only. The 300 programs, whatever I translated using Jython is 300 bytecode only. Of course, this is totally become as Java application. So Python programs and Java programs both can fit together. Python is extensible to Java. It is an advantage to the companies. Why? Because remaining 1,700 programs are working fine. Whenever the migration is required, then only I will migrate. Whenever major part of the application is migrated into Python, finally I will make it as a Python project. This kind of advantage. Quickly you can manage the things in live without giving trouble to the live. This is extensible. Like this distributions we have translators for generating the exe file, C++ exe file from the Python program, C Python, generating the Java bytecode file, Jython, generating the .NET compatible bytecode, Iron Python, for the Ruby purpose, Ruby Python, PyPy, various things are there. That is what Python is extensible. Then Python is scalable. Scalability means what? Suppose today I develop an application for my company, for my new company. I started working with a software application. The application is developed. I started working. Maybe number of customers are few customers are coming to my company. I do very little number of transactions. It's working fine. Over a time, the number of customers will increase, number of products will increase, number of transactions will increase. So size of the data increases, volume of the data increases, frequency of data increases. Over an years, it will be more and more, keep on increasing, but your application must work stable manner. That is scalability. Whenever the number of transactions increases, or load increases, or size of values increases, the number become big. So application is not able to handle that. Again, changes are required in the code. You have to change the internal code, data types, and those all things, and make the application compatible to the current situation, stable to handle the current situations. That's not a good idea, right? That's not good. Always, whenever the things come complicated, changes are required. That's not right. So Python don't want that. Python is scalable. Just a practical proof I will show you to understand Python is scalable. See, I'm opening Python console, command line console I'm opening. See, Python 3.10. Here I'm opening Python console. You see, A is a variable. A is equal to 123. 123 is a small value or not? 123 is very small value, right? Simple integer. So what is A? 123. Now what I am doing, A is equal to A to the power of 123 to the power of 123. This is the calculation. Okay, reasonably somewhat complicated calculation only. 123 to the power of 123. Now you see what is A? This is a number. This is simple number here. What type of object it is? It is an integer. Very simple. 123 is an integer. This is also an integer. Okay. So again, A is equal to A to the power of 123. This number to the power of 123. Okay, see how quickly the process is completed. Now you print A. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this. You are not watching Matrix movie. This is just an integer. This is just a number. So from here, this everything is number, right? Even this number to the power of 123 we can do. No problem. Python can do it. So what type of object it is? What type of object it is? Type of A is integer. If the value become too big, more than this, maybe process might be little bit slow down, but it never fails. That's the reason Python is scalable. You see, A is equal to A to the power of 123. So this number to the power of 123. See, it is taking little more time or not, but still calculates. That also done quickly. This is the power of Python. That's what we say. Python is scalable. I think all of you comfortable, clearly understood what is scalable. Unlimited. So any situation Python program can handle. Okay, and a portable. Python is platform independent. Python program can run on any platform, any operating system, wherever Python interpreter is there. That already I told you. Python is embeddable. So you want Python to be used as a scripting language in your software, in your tool. Yes, you can embed the Python in your platform, in your software, in your tool. You want to embed Python as a scripting, as a programming facility purpose, then you can embed it. Python is embeddable. Best example I will show you. This is Selenium testing tool, functional testing tool. In the Selenium, Python is the language, can be used as a test scripting language. So Python is part of Selenium. Got it? So Python is embedded into Selenium. Suppose tomorrow you developed a tool. In that tool, you want Python scripting facility or Python programming facility. Of course, you can embed the Python into your tool. You can embed the Python into your language, in your platform, operating system, anything. Yes, Python is embeddable. And Python is simple. It is easy to learn, easy to read the code, easy to write the code, easy to maintain the code. Python commands are self-expressive. That's what it is, easy to read and easy to maintain. Python supports interactive mode of working and script mode of working. This already I told you. Python is a dynamically typed programming language. In this perspective, I do say programming languages are two types. One is static data type supporting programming languages. Second one is dynamically typed programming languages. The programming languages I do categorize into two types. One is static data type supporting programming languages. Second one is dynamically typed programming languages. C, C++, Java, C#. These all are static data type supporting programming languages. You must declare variable using a data type. You have to declare a variable with a data type. Then only you can use the variable. Without prior declaration, you cannot use the variable. That is the nature of the static data type supporting programming languages. So static data type supporting programming languages mechanism is early binding mechanism. First you declare variable, then only you can use it. Without declaration, you can't use it. Prior to use, declaration is mandatory. This is the nature of static data type supporting programming languages. But what is Python? Python is a dynamically typed programming language. It supports late binding. No declaration. You must not declare variable. I'm not saying you need not to declare. I'm not saying that. I'm saying you should not declare. No declaration. Python does not provide any syntax, any command to declare a variable. There is no matter of declaring the variable. Without a declaration, directly you can use the variable. When you are assigning value to the variable, internally it creates the memory, it creates the variable, provide every definition, everything internally done. We need not to worry about it. So dynamic semantics, late binding, it works based on dynamic semantics. That's why Python is dynamically typed programming language. So Python gives you large set of standard libraries. As I told you yesterday, for the big data, Hadoop, PyHadoop is the library. For deal with Oracle database, CX_Oracle is the library. For communicating with MS SQL Server, SQL Server PyMS SQL is the library. To deal with the MySQL, MySQL related libraries are available. You know, simple example I'll tell you. Chemical industry project. Chemical industry in the sense it's not a financial calculation or mathematical calculation, not like that. That's somehow related to chemical processing, molecules, their compositions, etc., etc. That is again a separate vast domain. Any software engineer want to develop the application or project for the chemical industry, chemical domain, it's not that easy. Java programmer, .NET programmer, C programmer cannot develop, because chemical domain expertism, subject matter expertism is required. Without that, you can't develop such applications perfectly. But Python programmer can does. Why? Because ChemPy is a library which is already available. Chemical domain related formulas, combinations, everything is pre-built, readily available in the library. As a programmer, what I do depends on the requirement. Just I will use the corresponding function or corresponding object, just implement and develop the application. That's all. That easy it makes. Not only this, for the data science, approximately 15 libraries are there. Like this, depends on the technology and the domain. There are several libraries, very big set of standard libraries are available. Approximately more than 1,30,000 plus libraries are provided by Python. Different people developed it. Okay. So don't ask me, should I learn all the libraries? No, per day, one library, if you learn, it takes totally 1,30,000 days. It is equal to 300 years. It's impossible. Depends on the project in which you are going to contribute, in which you are going to work. So what is the domain of the project? What is the technology of the project? Based on that, hardly 2 or 3 libraries you might need to learn. Maybe already you know at least one library, new library that you never worked before. In this current project, you are going to work with that library. You're supposed to upgrade within 1 or 2 days. You can upgrade to the library that easily. So that standard libraries, this is one of the real power of the Python. This is one of the reason for greatness of the Python. Okay, this is one of the reason most number of people in different technologies, they are using Python. Python is completely free and open source. You see, NASA is using Python for scientific task development. NASA kind of research organizations are using Python for their scientific task developments. Google is using Python for their web searching algorithms. YouTube is using Python for video analytics, monetization analytics, etc. Okay. And Instagram is totally developed in Python. Dropbox, client-side interface and server-side script, both are. It is a memory, shared memory device, right? Online memory storage. So client-side interface and server-side scripts, both are developed in Python. BitTorrent, you know, torrents, peer-to-peer file transfer system. Of course, you people know BitTorrent for downloading the videos, downloading the movies, etc. But it is made for peer-to-peer file transfer system in order to exchange the large size files. Okay, so this is developed in Python. The companies like Yahoo, Facebook, IBM, Amazon, BBC, Netflix, they are using Python for their own purpose. NSA, National Security Agency, USA. It uses Python for cryptography and intelligence analysis. Raspberry Pi uses Python. So instead of telling this much, a simple statement is nowadays, almost all companies in almost all projects, either partially or fully, either as a scripting language or programming language, somehow they are using Python in there, implementing Python as part of their project. That essential the Python is. So once quickly, let us go to history of the Python. He is the person, Mr. Guido van Rossum. He is the creator of the Python. At present, he is in Microsoft. He worked for Google. After that, at present, he is in Microsoft. This Rossum is created Python in 1991. Very first version is released. So Python was conceptualized by the Rossum in late 1980s. The idea of the Python is begin in late 1980s. The Python development, implementation of developing Python language started in 1989. In 1991, the Python made available for the public. The very first version 0.9.0 is released to public from CWA Netherlands. Okay, it's a financial research institute, CWA Netherlands. But one point is important, before start developing the Python, ROSM was created a language called ABC programming language. Who is creator of ABC programming language? ROSM, where he did develop it in CWA Netherlands. So already he developed a programming language ABC as a general purpose programming language. After success of ABC programming language, he developed another programming language. He created another programming language, that is Python. So we can say Python is influenced by the ABC. So Python is derived from ABC. So a lot of influence of ABC is there on Python. That's what we can say. Python is derived from ABC language. After success of the ABC programming language development, ROSM started developing Python. He developed Python, and Python is made available for the public. Why name is Python? A snake name is given to the language. Why the name is Python? There is no really technical reason behind the names here. Java, why the language name is Java? The Java development team visit an island. In the island, Java is the name of the coffee. They liked it. That's why coffee and coffee cup is the logo of the language. Java is the name of the language, right? Hadoop, Mr. Duck Cutting is creator or developer of the Hadoop. Hadoop's son, elephant toy, name is Hadoop. Of course, he likes his son very much, and father likes the toy also. That's why his development deliverable name is Hadoop. The technology, big data technology name is Hadoop. Hadoop is none other than an elephant toy. The logo is also the same. So don't expect the technical reasons behind the name. Here, ROSM is a big fan of a Russian flying circus funny show, comedy show, which was telecasted in BBC. He is a big fan of that. From that name, he took the name Python in ROSM point of view. But anyhow, Python is the dictionary word, English word that represents a type of snake. That's the logo is like this. Don't worry about it. Of course, language name is Python. This is how ROSM named it. But you observe the Python stable release 1.0 is released in 1994. So please understand like this. The version releases, you try to understand like this. So 1991, very first release 0.9.0. Then 1994, 1.0. After that, 1995, so on, subsequent 1.1, 1.2, 1.3, 1.4 releases. Then in the year 2000, Python 2.0 is released in the year 2000. Okay, this is in the year 2000. They released Python 2.0. Then subsequent upgraded versions like 2.1, 2.2, 2.3, that upgradations are there. But you see, already I told you yesterday, in the year 2006, ROSM started an organization, that is Python Software Foundation, a non-profit oriented organization, right? They started giving support of the Python programmers, Python communities and everything. Okay. So in the year 2008, Python 3.0 is developed and released. but Python 3.0 is totally, completely redeveloped from the scratch. Python 3.0 totally, completely redeveloped from the scratch, right? So backward compatibility is missing. A couple of commands are discarded. Couple of commands syntax has been changed. Couple of new commands are introduced. So previously developed programs, 2-version developed programs, 1 series, 1-version developed programs, those programs cannot directly run by the new version Python 3. That's why what they did, they continued Python 3 as a separate series and a Python 2 as a separate series, right? Since 2008, until 2008, no confusion. Python 1, 1.1, 2.1, 2.1, 2.3, so on. Until here, no confusion. Since Python 2008, Python 3 is released. This is Python 3. Python 3 is released. So Python 3 is not supporting previous version programs, previously developed programs. Backward compatibility is missing. So Python 3 series, they continued releasing Python 3.1, 3.2, 3.3, so on. And as well, parallelly, they continued Python 2 series also, 2.1, 2.4, 2.5, 7.15, so on. So since 2020, year 2020, this is continued until 2020. In the 2020, already Python Software Foundation is announced that after 2020, we are no more supporting the Python 2 series. 2 series is outdated. Python Software Foundation is not going to provide any more support for 2 series. So totally 3 series, because more than a decade, since 2008 to 2020, 12 years, more than a decade, they supported both. So then they discarded 2 series. Now everyone is working about 3 series only. You people don't worry about Python 2 series and 3 series. So at present, we are working with Python 3 series. Everyone is working with the Python 3 series. 2 series is outdated. Suppose you are showing your experience is more than 12 years, 15 years, like that. Yes, in your past experience, you might have worked with 2 series, and recently you are working with 3 series. Both you must be able to talk about. If you are experienced about 4 years, 5 years, 6 years, not a problem. Okay, just you started working with Python 3 series only. This is the history. The latest version of the Python 3 series is Python 3.10. Let you see python.org. Python.org is the official website of Python Software Foundation. You can go to downloads. You see the versions. Python 3.10.6 August 2, 2022. 3.10.5 June 6, 2022. 9.30 Python 3.9.x May 13, 3.10.4. See, March 24, 3.10.4, but May 3.9.13. Because someone in the world, they are working with Python 3.9, depends on their requirement or the problems they are facing. They asked for the support. For their benefit, they upgraded and they did some changes and they released it for everyone. In the release notes, you can see that. If you click on downloads, Windows compatible Python, Mac OS compatible Python, source code is Linux compatible Python. If you go for Windows, you see Python 3.6.10. See all the previous versions you are able to see here. Python 9, Python 9.9, Python 3.9.8, 6.15. Okay, this all you are able to see. Python 3.8. All are available to download. Whatever is best suitable for you, you can download. Got it? This is the version history. You can see here. This, of course, in this document, everything is there. Whatever I demonstrated in the demo session, everything is available. Okay. declarative programming paradigms, declarative, functional, everything is available. Modular, everything, features of Python is given in detail. Okay. Scalability and everything. This document I do share. See, history of the Python, who is using Python, the company is using Python, about ROSM and history of the Python, Python version releases. Okay. About Python Software Foundation. In the year 2006, Mr. Rosem is started Python Software Foundation. Okay, since Python Software Foundation came to existence, someone is giving us the support, right? Since there onwards, Python become popular. The industry started using Python because zero cost, free of cost, a commercially licensed software. All facilities are given by the Python with free of cost. That's why everyone is using Python. Very simple final conclusion about Python, story about Python. Python is combination of features from various languages. Procedure-oriented programming features, scripting language features, object-oriented programming language features, functional programming language features, modular programming language features, all popular programming language features put together in single programming language that is done by the Rosem, Guido and Rosem. That's what Python. So what are the Python abilities comparatively Java, .NET? You see, automation applications can be done with Python, not Java.NET. Data analytics scripts, analytics related applications can be done with the Python, not Java and .NET. Scientific applications can be done by Python, not Java and .NET. Web applications, yes, Python can do that. Java can do that. .NET can do that. Okay, web scraping can be done by Python. Test automation can be done by Python, Java, .NET. Networking with IoT, Python can do, Java can do, but .NET cannot do. Administration scripts, Python can do that, not Java and .NET. GUI desktop applications, you can do it using Python, using Java, using .NET. Gaming can be done using Python, Java, .NET. Animations can be done with Python, not Java and .NET. This is the technical abilities of Python. So what areas we do use Python? This is all about Python. Next, we go for installation and environment, working with Python, everything. This is all about Python. That's all for today. I do stop here. Finally, do you have any questions, guys? Anybody is having any questions, please.
Yes,
go
sir.
ahead.
Arnav this side. Yeah. My question is, how many weekends it will take to cover actually?
Arnav, the total course is 8 weekends that starts from next Saturday.
Okay.
Totally 8 weekends. Saturday 3.5 hours, Sunday 3.5 hours. So effectively every weekend, Saturday 3 hours, Sunday 3 hours, 6 hours. That is equal to weekday training every day 1 hour, weekly 5 days, but more than that we are doing, right?
Okay.
So total 8 weekends, 2 months. Within the 2 months, you are able to complete the course.
So in this course, will you cover the NumPy, Panda, all those libraries?
Yes. Yesterday, actually, I have shown that my course content.
Okay, sorry, I missed it.
Just a second. This is the course curriculum. My course curriculum is divided into 3 skill levels, guys. Skill level 1, all the basic programming abilities, introduction to Python, Python installation and making the environment, getting started with all the tools, all the environments one by one, working with various tools. Then start working with Python, print command, input command, variables, data types, conversion functions, etc., memory model, operators, all the basic programming. Then strings, working with strings and string operation, program logics and techniques, control structures, data structures, Python list, Python tuple, Python set, lambda expressions, Python set, frozen set, working with Python dictionary, these things, and collection objects like counter object, default dictionary, ordered dictionary, double-ended dictionary, heap queue, and packing and unpacking, okay, and hashability, these all things, understanding. This is skill level 1, basic programming skills, okay. Next, skill level 2 is totally focused on reusability, the functions, okay, parameters, call by reference, call by value, various varieties of parameters, formal, actual, positional, default, keyword, variable length, keyword parameters, etc. The advanced functional programming, implementation in functions, iterators, generators, decorators, these all are advanced. The comprehension techniques is advanced. The functional programming functions like map, filter, reduce, these things are advanced. These all are related to reusability. Then object-oriented programming covered in the skill level 2, reusability, OOPS implementation, modules and packages, reusability. This is a skill level 2. In this, advanced concepts are covered. Functional programming and object-oriented programming is covered. After that, skill level 3, external components like dealing with the files, text files, binary files, pickle module, okay, and various other modules, datetime module, sys module, OS module, random module, etc. Exception handling, serialization, okay, descriptors, multi-threading, database connectivities, regular expressions, serialization, unit testing, these all things, logging, ORM, these all things. Of course, the people who is expecting to further go to data analytics side, they want overview about the NumPy, Pandas, Matplotlib, these modules, Python arrays, Python NumPy arrays, Pandas series, data frames, and Matplotlib visualizing the data. These things we'll cover. These are the additional classes. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, apart from our course, this is additional. Of course, networking optional. Most of the people don't go for the networking side, application development side only our people will go. So this is ignored. This is optional. Okay. This is the total curriculum of mine. Okay, guys. Any questions? Any more?
Yeah. May I know the course fees?
That is, you communicate with DURGASOFT organizers.
Okay, fine. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Any more questions, guys?
In unit testing, are we going to write any test case and automate that, or
automation scripts? Yes, yes. Automation scripts. Earlier days, using Perl, you do testing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Python programming, when you develop an application, how to test it, how to debug it. Got it?
Okay.
How do we perform the unit testing? That was principles we do. Okay.
Okay. One last question. Any project that we are going to do at the end of the session, that let's say one game or app development or something like that?
Paresh, you see, our duration and the coverage of the topics possibility, we have to see, right?
Yeah, I'm just curious. I mean, if there is any,
if anybody is interested to do project, it's not like giving a dummy project or not like that. Of course, a couple of projects I involved nowadays. There are some personal projects also in there. Personal in the sense individual based project, not MNC company projects, individual projects also there. They are live projects, live requirements, live communication. If really somebody is want to do that, of course, I can make you people to do it. I can give a couple of requirements and you can do it. That is going to be additional time. Got it? The commitment is required. So within the 8 weekends, we are working in weekends, totally approximately every week 6 hours, 8 into 6, nearly 40 hours above we are around, we are going to work. Within this time, where is the time to do the project? And moreover, my total training is practical oriented. More number of assignments I will give it to you. I will show a couple of assignments programs in the classroom, and I will give you assignments. If you people practice them perfectly, up to date, along with my speed, that's really enough. If you want some project or something that is addition to this 2 months.
Yeah, fine. And also we should be in a position to get started with that. So I was just asking.
Yeah. My motto of teaching is I will teach in such a way. It's not like that. I provided you 500 programs. You practiced the 500 programs. That's enough. You are great. Not like that. I gave you 5,000 programs. You practiced all the 5,000 programs. You are great. Not like that. You should be capable enough of facing a new challenge tomorrow, because in software development, every day new requirement, every requirement is a new problem statement, a new challenge. So you must be capable enough of providing a solution for that. You should be confident enough to face it. Got it?
True.
Otherwise, my sir is given 5,000 programs. This requirement is not there within the 5,000. What can I do? You should not be in that position, right? You are not going to be a typist. You are going to be a developer.
That's not going to help actually.
Yeah.
We should have our
Yes.
thinking, logical thinking, and all. We should develop our
That
logic.
skills you supposed to increase. So my total training is in that perspective only. Instead of number of programs count, your confidence levels and your ability, how good you are able to provide solution for a new challenge. That is what real time, that's what required, the capability required for a programmer. That orientation only we will do. We'll go ahead for the further sessions.
Sure.
Okay. Okay, guys, anything
Thanks.
more? Any more questions?
Nothing from my side. Thanks.
Yeah. Anybody else? Okay, guys, thank you. Today we stop here. See you in the next weekend. Next weekend onwards, we do start regular classes. Okay. Thank you. Bye. See you.
Thanks.
Thank you. Bye.